welcome back, Facebook friends. We are live here at the Lighthouse Treatment Center on Facebook Live. I'm your host for today. My name is Joan. I'm here with Mr. Ottis. Welcome. It was very nice to meet you.
Same here. I'm just looking forward to this session.
And today we are discussing family dynamics in recovery. So I have a few questions to broaden our knowledge on this topic for Mr. Ottis. What is your position here at the Lighthouse?
Well, I've only been here now for a month or so, so I'm really excited because I am the family recovery specialist. Because when I talked to Chuck Peterson, who hired me, I was telling him that we're changing the dynamics in recovery, and we're realizing how important it is to have the whole family engaged in recovery now,
yes,
more so
absolutely.
than an individual disease. And I have been doing that for a number of years, and I was excited about the opportunity to bring all my wealth of knowledge and the skills and stuff I've gained over the years to be, to this organization and help families start to recover.
Well, we're very excited to have you, and you've offered a lot to the Lighthouse already.
Thank you
so much. What brought you into the field of recovery and into your area of expertise?
Well, it's rather humorous. I had some significant problems with substance for a number of years, and then I had got court ordered into a treatment program, and I was kind of getting sober. And so my counselor says, well, you need to kind of, change your life around and, try some new occupations. And I've been primarily a blue-collar worker. I've been in ship construction, aircraft mechanic, I was in the military, and I've done, labor, construction, that type thing. And I was getting a little older, and she said, well, you might want to find something that's not so physically taxing. And I go, well, I really don't have a lot of skills. She said, what do you do best? I said, I know lots about alcohol and drugs. She said, great. You'd be a great alcohol and drug counselor. So off I went to UCI Irvine. They had an alcohol and drug study programs. And here I am. So the last caveat was, I say, do they pay you money to talk to people? She said, yes. You mean, I talk to Joe. Now suppose she doesn't get sober. Oh, we pay you anyhow. I talk to her, you give me money. They said, yeah. I go, I'll never work a day in my life again.
Perfect.
So that's how I got into recovery.
It's beautiful. Thank you. How do you address what family means to different people?
And it's amazing because, and especially the clients we deal with, man, family has so many different meanings because in most cases, they've been ostracized or separated from their family. They don't have a simple family. They don't know what family is anymore. Addiction has a way of just tearing a family apart.
Yes.
And there's so much pain involved and mistrust and deceit that there's no real concept of what a family is anymore. And they've kind of lost that basic value of what a family is.
Yeah. So could you explain what family dynamics mean in recovery?
Okay. And this is, and most people miss the dynamics of a family that's caught up in recovery because, believe it or not, each person is vested in their own way of doing things. They don't understand that how the addiction has affected the way they treat each other, how they communicate with each other, how they see themselves as a family. Mm-hmm. And everyone wants to change, but everyone keeps doing the same thing they've always done, and they keep getting the same results they've always gotten, and nothing changes. Which is insanity. And no one changes. It's breaking my heart. We take the individual, we bring them into treatment, detox them medically, get them stable, teach them about recovery, get them started, and then we send them right back to the same family they came out of. And the family hasn't changed at all. Mm-hmm. So the family does what they do, and so obviously the individual starts doing what he did, because it's that family homeostasis. The dynamics is the family wants to keep being the family they've always been.
And it is a family disease.
Absolutely, and boy, to get people to understand that is a real challenge.
So, if you want your addict loved one to get sober, everybody has to change. Everybody has to put in an effort, is what I'm hearing from you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And could you give us an example of historical family models and current family models used today? Okay,
yeah. And when I grew up, the family model was great. There was mom and dad and 2.5 little kids. We all in our little world. Father knows best, Mm-hmm. These nice little families, which was great during that time because there were no divorces. People got married and stayed married forever. So you had a nice family. Today, there's nothing even close to that. We have the 2 mom families, we have the 2 dad families.
Modern families.
Yeah, we have a lot of single parent families. We have grandparents raising kids because the other family members are gone. So within addiction, the family models have changed so much, and there's such a contrast in it. There's nothing remotely resembling what the old family model used to be.
Yeah. Why is it important to understand the complex role that families play in substance abuse treatment?
Okay. And it is so complex is why most professional people, doctors, psychologists, psychiatrists, you know, and the people who are supposed to help these families don't understand the complexity of how the addiction has everyone getting some reward out of being who they are. You know, I'm the codependent, I need to take care of you and control you and make sure you're okay. If you get well, what am I going to do? I need you to be sick. You're sick, you know, and you're being taken care of. Well, if you get well, no one's going to take care of you, so you want to be taken care of. So the complex thing is that we all want to change, but we all want to keep doing what we're doing, and we do it subconsciously. We're not even aware of the fact that we're doing what we're doing. And I was saying, it breaks my heart. I'm saying we do all this great work, and then they go back to the family, and the family hasn't changed. They don't change. But now here's the miracle. If you get the family into recovery, integrated recovery, where everyone in the family is in some form of recovery. I'm talking grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, brothers, anyone who will participate in the family. If they get involved in this family recovery concept and they attend the 12-step program, we have Al-Anon, Nar-Anon, Celebrate Recovery, which is really huge, you know, and Families Anonymous, for these families to get, you know, involved in. My dream is one day the entire family gets into recovery, but these families connect with other families, and you have this whole community of families working together in recovery.
That's beautiful.
And you have families supporting families in recovery because you need that kind of concept for long-term recovery.
Absolutely. I think that's really, really important. Is providing services to the whole family important? How does it help long-term?
Yeah. And without the proper services, how does a family member know what to do? They have no idea what's wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody goes, I never knew. I didn't know what to do. Go where? Do what? Do I have a problem? Oh, when I point out they have a problem, they're like shocked. You mean, I go, yes, you're as addicted to him. So I do this thing with a mother or a wife. I says, can you not worry about your son for one day? Oof. Can you even do it for 1 hour? She says, no. I go, then that's why he cannot stop drinking for one day. So now you know addiction. You are just addicted to him as he is to the substance. And they go, oh my God, I can see how hard that would be now when they realize that they have no ability whatsoever not to try to control, be concerned, and worry about it. So when you can educate the family members, you know, get them out of their denial, get them to begin to get into the recovery process, so we all communicate together. Like we all have sponsors, we're all working the same 12 steps, we're all talking the same language and having the same feelings, and we're all getting healthy together, then that's going to promote long-term recovery.
Beautiful, thank you. Does involving the family reduce harm on user and his or her family? Absolutely,
man. Because the family ends up causing more damage to the user and themselves than anybody else. Now, this is not consciously, but because they think they're helping. If I know you have a problem and you don't have any money, oh, my baby girl's in the street, they're going to lock her up. Oh, let me go save her. Yes. Let me fix her. Let me take care of her kids. You know, let me do for her what she should be doing for herself. I'm teaching you helplessness. Yeah. I'm teaching you to depend on me to fix you so you're not okay. Then if you get well and don't need me anymore, how dare you? After all I've done, you're not going to let me, you know, be in control anymore? I feel I'm hurt. I wanted to go back to the way it was. And so I don't know that I'm harming you, you're harming me, we're harming each other, and there's no intention with that, but it's just that's what we do because that's what we've always done, and we don't know how to do it any differently. And that's why it's so important, you know, through this integrated, you know, kind of recovery to get everybody to start it. When I explain to the family members, that, there's 4 significant areas that they got to recover emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually. There's a lot of work to do to get well and get healthy. And your loved one is not the enemy. Your addicted person is not the enemy. You're not the enemy. The enemy is addiction. Addiction has come in and created these problems within your family. So now we know who the culprit is. It's the addiction that we're mad at. The addiction is what we're going to focus on resolving, and then we can come back together as a whole and be together.
Beautiful. And just off the record, could you explain what enabling and codependency is?
Oh, absolutely. And it's really simple. I mean, simple comment. Now there is caregiving and there's caretaking. Now, it is good to be a caregiver. You need something, I can help you, I care about you, I give you care and concern. Caretaking is when I'm doing for you what you could do for yourself. Now, you could do this, You can go to work, but I'm telling you, I'll take care of you, don't pop to work, You can get up and go get things done. I'm doing those things that I should allow you to do for yourself. But I do that because it gives me a sense of well-being, and that's how I validate myself, by what I do for you. I can't get any sense of validation and good feeling by doing for myself. Mm-hmm. So I need you to allow me to take care of you, because I'm dependent on taking care of you, so I can have a sense of well-being. Because I don't know how to do for myself and get a sense of well-being.
So in a sense, it gives the family member a sense of identity and a sense of purpose.
Oh, absolutely. And believe it or not, they don't want to give that up. So how could them get sober when they're hanging on to this need to have to take care of them and fix them and rescue them and be there? And so the person says, well, if you want to rescue and fix me and take care of me, who am I to argue with you? I'll just go drink and music and then you can rescue and fix me and take care of me.
Yeah, that is definitely a cycle that I see.
Oh, it's a real cycle we get caught up in.
Yeah, and it's harder. I've heard in the past that the codependent person is the hardest person to convince that they're also sick.
Oh, I couldn't believe it. When I discovered it, I said, I'm going to go explain to the family members, because they're not drinking.
Exactly.
So I know they're going to get this. And I told them. And they looked at me like, no, I don't have a problem. He does. And I'm looking at them, how can you not see this?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was amazed. And their denial is as deep, if not deeper, than the addicts.
Yeah,
I was just shocked when I thought I was going to get this immediate response. And, oh, wow, Otis, I know that. Oh, I'll go do it. No problem, because they're not drinking. Nope. They are so caught up in their illness that they are just as difficult to reach and get to understand that they also have a problem and they need to make some changes also.
Yeah, because in their heart they feel like they're trying to do what's best or do right by the addicted loved one.
Yes. So I'll ask the question, I go, well, when's the last time you've been on a vacation? They go, vacation? I don't have time for that. I go, well, how are you doing physically? When you're working out, I don't have time for that. Yeah. I go, well, how about your emotional well-being? Oh, they're all over the place. Mm-hmm. The codependent has every problem the addicts have. They have emotional problems.
Yeah.
Oh, God, you're up at night, insomnia, can't sleep, they're worried, they're concerned, they can't go to work. They got all kinds of problems. So they have emotional problems, they have mental problems, and they have financial problems. They've been bailing this guy out, for everything. So they have, without drinking and using, they have every problem the addict has, and they can't see it. And they're dying. And say the person stopped drinking, that doesn't change. Their codependency goes on. They're still just as worried, just as concerned. And I'll admit, it is rather difficult to think that someone you love has a disease at any given day can take them back out. That is difficult to live with. Yeah. You got to have some faith. You got to find some trust. You got to find some spiritual, meaning in life, that you're able to let that go, trust it's all going to be okay, and focus back on yourself. Even though that is a reality, you don't let it run your life. You don't let it control your world. Because it is difficult dealing with that when you're someone that you truly love and care about. And they have a life-threatening disease that's progressive, that's getting worse. And on any given day, they can start using it again.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for answering those questions. Mm-hmm. What impact does an alcoholic parent have on his or her children?
And sometimes it almost breaks my heart, the impact they have on their kids. I interview so many women, and I go, why are you married to this guy? Mm-hmm. They married their father. The impact that the father had on these kids. They marry their dads. You married your father. Who else are they going to marry? Because that's the first male role model they meet, they like, they care about, they relate to, they're familiar with. Mm-hmm. They go marry their dads and do this thing all over again. It's almost insane. And I talk to the men. I go, you swore you'd never be like your father. You're exactly like your dad. Mm-hmm. You're drinking, you're getting divorced, the kids are around. You're doing everything your dad did. Well, he's my dad, You don't intend to do it, but the impact that they have when you're doing your developmental years, you can't help but carry on. Mm-hmm. This is such a generational disease. It is absolutely frightening. Mm-hmm. Everyone I talk to, my grandfather was an alcoholic. My father was an alcoholic. I'm an alcoholic. My son's an alcoholic. And the thing is somehow to break that cycle where I tell these young men, if you get sober, you'll be able to save your marriage. You'll be able to raise your son. You won't be in jail, or you won't be dead, or you won't be drinking. So you'll raise your son. You'll be there for him. You will demonstrate what recovery's about, about being healthy and loving and kind and focused and reliable and dependable. And he'll take on those values. If he does have the genetic predisposition and has a problem, you'll help arrest that real early. So he'll get sober. So you'll be sober, your son will be sober. Then your son will have a child, your grandchild, and then they'll be sober. So now you have 3 generations of sobriety. And we've broken the link in that generational thing. So I try to get them to look at what you do today is huge. It's going to impact your unborn grandchild. It's not even here yet. But you're doing this now, and it's going to carry forward for generations, either positive or negative. Which one do you want to send out to the future? Because what you do is absolutely important. You're in a family. You're connected. And so who you are and how you show up is going to make a difference. And when they look at it like that, they go, whoa, I don't want my kid to go through what I went through. I don't want one day to see my grandkids suffering with this. So it's one more motivational thing to get them to do the challenging work that it takes to stay clean and sober a day at a time.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. How does adolescent substance abuse impact adults?
It's amazing that, and I look at these kids today, because things are so available, the alcohol and drug use, they start in the type of drugs that we have available. Like the drugs were not available to us that's available today. We have these teens, they're dying. They're not going to make it to 22, 23. I work with this group called Overtaken. And all these mothers who buried their kids who are 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. They're dying by the carloads. And so that impact that it has on the family is just huge. The siblings that are left feel guilty because they didn't die and their brother's gone and the mother's still worried about them, and then they don't feel loved, and it just tears the whole family apart. This adolescent, addiction, how it affects everybody in the family. And these kids, they never even begin to have a life. They never even begin to understand what's wrong. Before they can even figure out what's gone, it's already too late. Because of the opiates and the things that are available, they just overdose and they die. Mm-hmm. It's really tragic, the number of young people we're losing every year, that we can't replace them.
Yeah, it's just they get younger and younger.
Younger and younger.
And man, they're dying.
It's unbelievable.
So fast.
And
so many at a time. It's crazy.
It's crazy. And when I came into recovery 38 years ago, you had to be over 35, mm-hmm. no watch left. Then you had a watch that tell you to go sell it and get another drink and then come back when the watch is gone. And you didn't have anything. It was all over and you were old. There were no women. They're all toothless, old alcoholic. And I go to a meeting now. Not only am I having the most, I'm the oldest guy in there. There's no one even my age. There's no one even been sober. They're not even 30 years old. I look around the room. I go, look at this room. There's 80 guys and they're all 19, 20, and 25. I go, this is amazing how much it has evolved over the years. And so there are those large number of kids who are getting clean and sober, but there's still that large number that we're kind of losing. So it's really impacting our society as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. What is the impact of substance abuse on family members who do not use substances?
And I had said earlier, the family member who do not use substances are just as addicted as the person who's using substances. And a lot of times, they're substituting. I look at large obesity. They're eating to take care of their feelings, or they're spending money to take care of
Yes.
their feelings, or they're addicted to the addict. They're so caught up in fixing and changing and controlling them that they're just as addicted. So the impact upon them is the same. They're dying too. You know, they're sick. They're at the doctor. They have a whole litany of problems.
So they lack self-care.
Oh, they total lack of self-care. And the quality of their life is poor. I mean, there's no quality to their life.
Right. What are the key components of treatment for the family?
Really key components too. And it's got to start with education. You have to educate people to get them to understand what the problem really is. If you can't reach them in a meaningful way for them to grasp exactly what the problem is, then if they don't know what the problem is, how are they going to possibly solve it? So you start with some education and prevention. Then you have to get them involved in family recovery. You got to get them involved in the same recovery process their loved ones involved in. You know, they have support groups for the family. And so if you get those into their initial support groups we talked about earlier, like Al-Anon and Nar-Anon and Celebrate Recovery, you know, and Family Anonymous, they find I tell a woman, find another mother who has a son who's an addict. She can relate to you better than anyone else in the world. No one, your husband is not going to understand what you're going through. He won't. He's a dad. He cannot relate to you. But another mother who has a son who's an addict, who's laid awake at night like you, can relate to where you're coming from. And I tell the dads, I go, no one's going to understand how the father of this son that you've been so proud of that's using now is going to get it, but another father. So you need to bond with some other fathers who are struggling with this so you can understand it. And I tell the girl, you need to find another, you know, woman who has a sister that's an addict. So I'm telling you, because she'll relate to you. You know, your mom ain't going to get it, but another friend your age who has a sister who's an addict can relate. And same thing with the brother. So finding the family members, finding mutual people who are having that experience, you know, you got to get them in those kind of dynamics for them to be able to resolve it. Why, when two people with like problems come together and share about it, some magical, mystical stuff happens? But I don't know, just a change happens. You don't feel so stigmatized, like you're not the only one or whatever. You're able to mutually share, and you get better. You get some relief. So it really takes that kind of concept, get the family to understand that they too are going to need support from other people to help them resolve this.
Very true. What is the difference between recovery and therapy?
Huge, you know, and people have missed this for years because they thought, well, these people are sick, they have a disease, send them to therapy, they're going to be fine, you know. And, you know, and most people who are addicts have had some trauma in their life. They have PTSD, this is a fact, and they need some therapy. That is one separate issue that they need to resolve, but that's not going to keep them sober. Now, recovery is a whole different concept. It really is approaching the whole person. You've got to look at those four distinct areas: mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. I tell my people, you have to get physically strong if you want to beat addiction. You got to be strong. You got to work out. You got to run. You got to get in shape. If you're not physically fit, you can't think good. Your emotions all over the place. You're not going to find any spirituality if you don't get physically fit. You have to absolutely, if you're emotionally all over the place and upset and mad all the time, there's no way you're going to ever recover, because emotionally you get upset and you go drink and use. Mm-hmm. So you have to really focus on your emotional life, you know. And mentally, you have to get some education. You got to know what's wrong. You know, you got to start to read and learn and think, you know, and use, you know, your cerebral, you know, mind to, you know, to get some education and kind of change things. And probably one of the biggest ones is spiritually. If you don't get some new spiritual values, there's no way to stay sober. You know, that's where you get the faith and the hope from, and believe that you can work. But if one of those areas are out, it makes all the other areas go. If I'm not physically fit, well, I can't do the other areas. If I'm not spiritually fit, then I'm going to drink and use again. I'm not going to take care of my body. But if you can keep some balance, which is another huge word for them, some balance in all those four areas of your life, then you're more well-rounded. Then you've got some stability. And then you're kind of integrated. Then you have a really good possibility that you're going to stay sober long-term. And I will admit it's challenging to be able to do that, but you're faced with a choice. Either you get the balance and you work on those areas, or you're going to die. And yeah, if you need some therapy, yeah, go see your therapist, but make sure that your life is focused around recovery.
Thank you so much for your time. It was awesome having you here, and you've been very informative and helpful. So thank you, guys.
Oh, thank you so much. It was wonderful, Joe.
Yes. Just a reminder, we're here every Thursday at 3 p.m. Facebook.com/Lighthouse Treatment. See you guys next week.
Bye, y'all.